Bukayo Saka! Anthony! Salah! Beautiful from a Bang! There goes Haaland. He's on it.
Brilliant. How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's episode of The Locker Room, the last one before the World Cup. World Cup kicks off this weekend, action-packed in Qatar, and it's going to be a fascinating tournament. I can already tell from the excitement that is going on within the Premier League, well, not the Premier League, but all the media hype and the players and everything that's going on, and people are getting excited about the World Cup, and it's not different over here wherever we are. We've got Ali G in the studios. Mr. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matthew.
Brilliant. And Musem, Mr. Man United, welcome to the show, sir. This man seems to have a delayed response, but I'm sure. Musem, can you hear us?
I can hear you very well.
Fantastic. Brilliant. You're back. Sipping tea like Cristiano Ronaldo, I can see. Welcome to the show. And we're going to touch base on a half-season review so far, kicking off with the last round of matches in the English Premier League, and then touching base on that bombshell of an interview from Cristiano Ronaldo before we do move on to ideally the last few or rather the best statistics from the season so far, and kicking it off with Mr. Man United, or rather Manchester City, the results at Manchester City in the Premier League last weekend. Fantastic action then within the Premier League, and we did see that we were having the elephant at the top of the tree was supposed to finally be brought down. Many expected Man City to win at home to Brentford and Arsenal to lose away to Wolves, but interestingly, results turned out differently, and Manchester City opening the scoring there with Phil Foden for 1-0 before Brentford came back, and Ivan Toney is the name. Man City losing that game in stoppage time. Ali G, your take on that result? Surprising result there for Manchester City. No one saw this coming.
Yeah, no one saw that coming, and I think most of the English fans thought that maybe it was Ivan Toney sending a message for leaving him out of the England squad. A brace, and if you watch the game, it could have been a hat-trick because he missed a sitter in the last minutes also. I think this is why the Premier League is the most interesting league, because no one saw this coming. No one expected Brentford to go to Etihad and have such a result. Phil Foden with a very good goal. But I don't know, maybe Premier League, it is what it is. You can't, some results, you can't even explain them. When you think that it will be a clean sweep, you get a surprise. But the standout player in that game was Ivan Toney. Very impressive. Me as an England fan, I don't know that I think we shall miss him. But unfortunately, the number he plays is Harry Kane, who plays 90 minutes and is assured of starting every game. So I hope we don't get there to the World Cup and we get to miss him. That's when the manager will be questioned on why he left him behind. But good for him. Very good game. We hope Brentford will pick up from this game when we come back from the World Cup to more better results. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Musem, your take on this surprising result?
Well, surprising result, but I think it's still good that Arsenal is in it. Most of the Arsenal fans don't even believe that they can actually win this trophy. It gives us that better finish once the World Cup is done. Once we come back, it will give us that that drama, because then Man City will be chasing Arsenal, and you know how Man City does it. They can win 18 in a row. So can Arsenal, can the elephant stay on top of that branch? I've seen it's been going shopping for Christmas and all those things, but can it outlast those 18 wins in a row? Let's wait and see.
Speaking of the elephant, I mean, we did see some fantastic action at the Molineux Stadium there for Wolves. Martin Odegaard with a couple of goals there, clean sheet for the Arsenal. Ali G, flash in the pan there, or impressive result to cement their place. That's only what? Out of the 14 games played, 12 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and the clean sheets are piling up. The elephant is still atop the tree. What is your take, Mr. Ali G?
Odegaard, brilliant from him, as a captain should be. The game seemed to be, it was an open game, but it came out and 2 crucial goals for Arsenal in a game that they possessed. I think the possession was around 60%, about 60%. And you don't seem to see any wrong from Arsenal, the way they are playing. Every game, when you think they will sleep, they get better and better. So maybe, hopefully, when the World Cup ends, when we come back, and unfortunately, remember what we shared on the group, Arsenal seems to have the least number of players that have gone to the World Cup, not like Manchester United or Chelsea, that maybe the players will come back when they have fatigue or there are some injuries. So this is another blow to some of the rival fans. The players who are resting, maybe the crucial players like Saliba, the Sakas, if they get game time, they will come back maybe when they are fatigued. So Arsenal has been impressive. They keep on pushing and pushing. There's so much hunger in the team. But like Musema said, we hope, we are waiting to see if they can have 18 wins in a row like Manchester City. Man City can do it with ease. So we hope to see whether they can do that when they come back from the World Cup.
Fair point there. Musem, do you agree with that?
Yeah, of course. Over the years, Arsenal's problem has always been mentality. Can they be able to withstand that pressure? You see, even the one game that they lost was a game against Manchester United, a very poor Manchester United side, if I may say, but still they lost the game. So it's in those games that matter. Of course, they came and did it against Liverpool and Chelsea. They always kind of win those games, but it's Man United. When Man City is breathing down your neck, can you stay the course? So I think it's mentality. You can see everything is there. They're playing well. The kids are fresh. I had my doubts over Odegaard captaincy, but it somehow has freed up Xhaka, because Xhaka now is one of your best players, actually. No pressure on how he has to behave as a captain. Now he's just playing his football, and Arsenal is benefiting. So let's wait and see if the mentality eventually, that character will be needed to withstand that pressure against Manchester City.
Definitely. And speaking of character, you can see shades of some character being built in the team there, obviously from the backbone, Salibas and so on and so forth. Aaron Ramsdale there doing his thing. Just to wade into that Arsenal analysis on my end, I do feel that, yes, the defining part is going to be next half of the season, where we come in, and despite Arsenal having the fewest number of players at the World Cup, out of the top 6, I think it is, outside Spurs, I do think that the few that are there are actually the backbone of that first 11. We do know that Arsenal's second 11 is lacking in strength, so they need to strengthen quite a bit, and for me that will determine whether they can go the full 9 yards and surprise us with a title win. Although for me, 4th place will be enough. Champions League, and we'll see what happens as we proceed. Speaking of character, the Red Devils' resurgence does continue to take steam under Eric Ten Hag, coming out there with a win against Fulham. Fantastic result there. Eric Ten Hag marshalling his boys. Cristiano Ronaldo absent for this game. And we did find out why eventually he was absent, and we'll go into that a bit later. But fantastic result there for Man United. Eriksen opening the scoring. Man United old boy Daniel James equalizing right there at Craven Cottage before this man, remember the name, Alejandro Garnacho, scored a Fergie time type of goal at the end, beating his marker for pace. A couple of defenders actually. Fantastic goal there. The young lad taking the headlines on the night. Man United 2-1. I'll start with you, Musem. What's your take on this resurgence? Do you think United can take it to the next level, go on a very good run of games, and break into that top 4 hunt?
Eric Ten Hag has his plan. You can clearly see he has a plan. And we just hope that the club can allow him to do his thing. Because I think you just alluded to that Ronaldo interview. It exposes a lot of what's happening at the back. There's just too much intrigue at this club. For such a big club to have so much intrigue, it's shocking. Someone sent me a meme of about 6 people who have left the club, both players and coaches, all mentioning something to do with behind the scenes. So there's something rotten at that club. It's shocking that you can have such a big entity and run it ragged the way the Glazers are doing it. On the pitch, Ten Hag is beginning to form some kind of team that he wants to see. And the game against Fulham wasn't all that beautiful. United could have wrapped it up in the first 30 minutes. Eriksen missed a sitter, scored 1, and then we had to scramble to win it in Fergie time. But you can see that Ten Hag has a plan, and his team will be able to scrap through. I think they should be able to do top 4. It will be hard, but I think they will be able to get it.
Interesting there. Ali G, your take on United's resurgence?
No doubt. I think United will get the top 4 because the character is there. You can see the hunger in the team, and Garnacho is probably giving us what some of us lovers of Mason Greenwood that feel bad about what's happening to him. Maybe Garnacho may. Yeah, quite unfortunate. Garnacho will try to fill the boots because Mason Greenwood was a fan's favorite, but the boy is hungry for game time. What a goal from him at a crucial time, dying minutes. He made his name. So, but also Eriksen has also been a standout player, a goal and an assist. He has tried to manage the midfield, which had so many problems in the previous seasons. I don't know. Scott wasn't is not Manchester United class. Manchester is a very big club, so it was quite, and it wasn't good that they were relying on Scott wasn't. So it wasn't a class. It's not. What they can say is not Manchester United class maybe. So Eriksen has tried to come in with Casemiro. Probably they will give Man U the kind of the quality football that they're supposed to play, and top 4 won't be a problem for them. Yeah.
I think so too. We're starting to see the shoots of something really interesting developing at United. On the other side, Man United's deadly rivals, Liverpool, also picking up some steam of their own after some indifferent results over the course of the season. Fantastic result there at Anfield, 3-0. Bobby Firmino, who has been in great form and was unlucky to miss out on a World Cup squad, scoring there, and a couple of goals from their marquee striker, Darwin Núñez, who is also finding his feet quite silently, despite the hype that is going on and striking around Erling Haaland. So Liverpool quietly going about their business. And speaking of teams that can comfortably put a run of 10 to 15 games together, besides Man City, we do know the only other team that has come close to being that consistent when they decide to turn it on is Liverpool. Musem, what's your take on them and their chances for the second half of the season?
Well, Liverpool is still blowing hot and cold. You can see all those seasons, about 3 of them in a row, fighting it against Man City, are beginning to bite. There's a lot of disjointment in that team. But of course, they have the tools to do what needs to be done. Of course, Danny Nunes, we've been making a lot of fun of him, but there's something there. He can score the goals, really. If Liverpool can continue to create the chances, then I'm sure he will bag a couple of goals. It's unfortunate that he has to compete against a beast in Haaland, but I think he's going to deliver the goods. Mo Salah so far disappointing. Shockingly, when you look at the statistics, he scored the goals. I think he has about 6, but he set the standard so high. The bar they've set him and Mane was so high that now he feels like a shadow of himself. We don't, when you don't see him banging hat tricks and braces all over the place, you don't feel like they stand a chance against anyone else. But I think they'll come after the World Cup. They should be able to string a couple of results together, which actually makes top 4 even more difficult because we had written them off. But if they come back into the picture, then it will be a bit interesting to see who makes it in there because Newcastle is doing the business really. Yeah. So I think Liverpool will get their act together after the World Cup. I don't think many of their players are in the World Cup. The list that Ali G was talking about, I don't remember Liverpool having so many of them. So they should be fine, really. They should be fine. Mo Salah is rested. That's the most important thing. Too bad he dragged money into that rest as well, but yeah, they should be fine.
Brilliant. Okay, and now moving on as well. We do have some action there. We did have some action there coming in from Spurs. Fantastic game, quite lively a game as well. From the not White Hart Lane, but the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They're a cracker of a game actually. 4-3 Spurs coming out on top. Harry Kane, Mr. Reliable, scoring there, and of course they did have a scare earlier on with goals from Somerville, the Leeds man, fantastic man in form, Dutch player there who is making raves at Leeds and came in with some fantastic effort there. Rodrigo also with a couple of goals for Leeds before Spurs did come back and caused some chaos on their ground. So they're still keeping in touch. They're still keeping in touch with results, and you do expect that they will also at some point. I mean, they're still in the thick of things there for the top 4 spot, and Betancourt sealing it there for him. Ali G, Spurs, what's your take? Blowing hot or cold, or are they still in the thick of things? I mean, when you look at the table for the English Premier League, Spurs are still, they're in 4th place, well within the Champions League spots. Arsenal leading at the top there, 14 points played, 37 points. City second, 14 games played, 32 points. Newcastle, a surprise package there, 15 games played, 30 points, and then Spurs, 15 games played as well on 29 points. And then Manchester United on 14 games played and 26 points, and Liverpool and number 6. So it's starting to set up quite nicely. Respectable mention for Chelsea in 8th place, Mr. Ali G. I know you're not used to being around there, but your side of the process is going to start or has started. Please be patient. But Ali G, your take on Spurs blowing hot and cold? Where do you see them finishing, and what do you think they can do next half of the season?
I will not be surprised if they finish out of the top 4, blowing hot and cold. I think Manchester United, like I said, will be in the top 4. I don't know why Spurs, at the beginning of the season, on paper they had a very good squad. We thought they are going to be competing for it, but they're having off-pitch problems. Antonio Conte is not committing. Harry Kane is getting linked with Bayern. So I don't know what the problem really is. We thought that with Antonio Conte coming in, they're now going to having like 3 seasons. Because winning the league is not something you're going to come in and win one time. You've seen what Arteta is doing. He has taken like three seasons. The team has to gel, the cohesion and everything. So we thought that this would be Spurs' time to also create something. They go together, build the chemistry within the team, and maybe finish in the top 4. But they're on and off. The games that they're supposed to be putting away very easily, they're doing it in the dying minutes. They're fighting really so hard. They're not putting away games with much ease as we expected. So I don't see them finishing the top 4. I don't see them finishing the top 4.
Brilliant. And if you're just joining, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button if you haven't already, and you are most welcome. And I do see some comments also be coming in there. Shout out to Stanley Walakira there. Hi guys, thanks for the show. Thanks for tuning in, Stanley, wherever you are. I do hope you're not in Chanja or Nigeria. Somewhere in Kampala there, they've been having some trouble with connectivity, so it seems you're on another side of town. Musem, Spurs, blowing hot or cold, or do you see Antonio Conte's team basically performing above expectations in the second half of the season?
Well, Spurs has been shocking in a way, because when you look at it, they have a lot of firepower. They signed well, I think, but the team depends on Kulusevski. Kulusevski went away injured and they struggled. He comes back, and within 3 minutes of coming back, I think he assisted or something, and then he was instrumental in the 4-3. So I think we had a discussion last time that he's the anchor of that team, and it's shocking because he's just coming to the team. We've always known the team to build around Son and Ken and all the other guys, but Kulusevski is the key to that team. If he stays fit, you can see what they can do. And then, of course, as mentioned by Ali G, those off-pitch issues, they're concerned. A club needs to be settled. Every time you have all these mamas off-pitch, it doesn't help matters, especially when it has to do with the coach. If a coach like Conte does not commit, then that is a big worry for Spurs, because I don't see how they come from this. You let Antonio Conte go. Who do you bring in? Who can build, that touch of that club? Who can keep you relevant? I don't see it. So I'll be surprised if and it doesn't look like Conte wants to commit. You've had the mamas about Juve wanting him back and things like that. So I don't see them finishing in top 4. They might struggle here and there. I wouldn't be worried about them as a Manchester United fan. I'm more worried about Liverpool, actually, because I think if they are to settle, they will be more settled. Spurs looks like there's more to what's happening behind there than we see. And that really affects these huge institutions when people are not settled in the back.
Indeed, I couldn't agree with you more. And we will see what happens. And moving on to the big game there, where Ali G, I'm sure, was glued to his screen. St. James's Park was the scene of a fantastic match there. Chelsea losing, for the second weekend in a row, 1-0. This time away at the surprise package, Newcastle. Arsenal old boy there, Willock, with the goal that sealed Chelsea's fate. And it's looking quite grim for Graham Potter after a fantastic start. Ali G, what has gone wrong in the first half of the season, and what is going to change, or what needs to change for Chelsea to qualify for the Champions League places in the second half of the season?
They say that if you don't expect much, you're never heartbroken. So As Chelsea fans now, we know our fate this season. There's no top four. But the burning question is, I don't know why Todd didn't go and buy Brighton. Seriously, he should have gone to buy Brighton, because coming to buy Chelsea, then he's bringing all the Brighton stuff inside, even the board. It's confusing. I don't know. As fans, we go through so
Sour
much.
grapes, eh?
Yeah, we go through so much pain with things that are not even in our control. You just have to sit back and see. Even if they change the name of Chelsea to London Cowboys, you can't do much. You're just a fan. So honestly, I don't know. You've spent. My real question is, why wouldn't this third guy let Thomas Tuchel finish the season? The guy has spent over 200 million pounds to buy players that he can use, that he wants to use, and now you fire him and you bring in a new manager who can't use those players. You're seeing Raheem Sterling and Pulisic starting at wing backs. So there are so many questions you can ask yourself about this Chelsea side, but you just have to wait for next season and say, okay, maybe let him finish out of the top four, not even Europa, so that he gets time to build this team like Arteta did without European football. Maybe it will be good for him. Without all these competitions that will maybe give him false hope, papering over the cracks that the team is good, they're finishing the Europeans. In the European tournaments, no. Let him finish out of the top six. Let him build afresh with no rush, and we see what he will give Chelsea. As for now, it's very disappointing and very painful to watch Chelsea play like this. We've not been used to such games. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had Ali G this disappointed in his Chelsea team. He's always trolling us, pointing at the Champions League badges. I don't know what's going on now. The London Cowboys, as you can see, and it's also reflecting in their team, because as you can see from the visual, they are ladies and gentlemen. Kai Havertz decided to turn into a WWE wrestling contender during the match, rather than the frustrations obviously boiling over. Ladies and gentlemen, in the who are watching live, do feel free to leave your comments as well, or your views on what we're discussing, half season review right now, and how these teams are going to perform in the second half, or how we expect them to perform in the second half of the season. Do leave your comment, and we'll be sure to discuss it, flash it up, and discuss it as well. Musem, your take on Chelsea there. Actually, before you go, my concern was for Chelsea when Abramovich sold I was always wondering whether they're going to have the same amount of financial backing as they got under Abramovich, but has turned out to be different. It's actually not about the finances; it's the confusion that is going on. There's suddenly some. Ali G made reference to them almost being called London Cowboys, but it's definitely a rodeo show going on. The back end for Chelsea. I don't understand what's going on. It's like Todd Bowley is riding a wild bull there in Chelsea. But Musem, your take on Chelsea?
Actually, I fear for Chelsea fans because that Todd Bowley guy might turn out to be worse than the Glazers. I think he's so unstable in terms of his decisions, and I'm worried that he probably could have joined the party a bit late, because when you see that the Liverpool Americans want to sell, my conspiracy has already been that the European Super League will not happen, and it's not every day that Americans back down from fights, but that's an indicator, because Americans know where the money is and they always stick around to make some of it. But if they are walking out, then something could be happening. They could be probably moving on to other bigger things. So Todd Bowley's entrance could be ill-timed. He's very erratic, first of all. His decisions. I love the coach he signed. Potter is a good coach. I think he has a lot of potential given time. But the club he's at is so huge. It's become too big and synonymous to winning. I fear for them. I fear for him as well. And once you sack him, it's going to be a spin in that club, really. All those signings you've made, He's going to make signings of his own. I think Trossard is one of the people they are looking at probably in the January window. So you bring Trossard, then you fire him when things go wrong. Because I don't think they're going to make it to Champions League. They won't. Even if the fans have told us that's the only trophy they will win this season. Delusional, if you ask me. But Chelsea is in a tailspin, and it's going to be interesting. If you hear Ali G being very humble now, it's actually very it's comical. But Chelsea is in a mess. It's in a mess. And I don't know what happened to Sly. Sly used to make a lot of noise when Tuchel was around, but the man has been quiet for months. That's an indicator that yes, that's an indicator that these people joined the club when Abramovich brought money, and they've already said that Man U fans are the spoiled kids, but it looks like even Chelsea fans are spoiled kids. Once Abramovich left with his billions, you can see they've gone quiet. They don't even want to associate with the club. I feel sorry for Chelsea fans.
But like Matthew has said, I don't think the problem will be the money, because the money is there. You saw what happened. The guy gave us money to spend over 200 million. They bought Koulibaly, they bought Fofana. I don't think the problem will be the money, but
Man U has had money for 10 years. What has happened? Money is not everything.
But that's what I was saying. Even under Abramovich, there was money, but it wasn't so stable. After even under Abramovich, he was firing guys every season. So
Abramovich had a core, by the way. If you look at the management, I think Chelsea was one of the best run clubs for a decade.
Yeah, Bruce Buck.
He had a backbone there where people were doing the business. In terms of firing coaches, it was okay, but if you have your spine in the back there, your directors of football and everything stays stable. It doesn't shake a lot. But now everything seems to be shaky even from the back, plus the shakiness on the pitch. It's going to be a mess. They might end up being worse than United, by the way.
But we wait to see. We wait to see, because this third guy has a successful franchise in baseball. So he keeps saying that he's not so new to this managing sports, these clubs. So we wait to see what will happen. Honestly, we just wait to see. It's so uncertain. We can't be sure what will happen. I just hope it's not as messy as we are seeing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Not to dwell too much on Chelsea. I know it looks messy. We're questioning the coach and his tactics. We're obviously questioning the owner and his management. I mean that decision to basically spend over 200 million pounds and have Tuchel spend that money and then fire him like 2 weeks into the season. I was like flabbergasted by that. I never ever saw that coming. But two points there, 2 points or 2 questions I'd put to you guys, starting with Ali G. How much have injuries played into this situation? Because truth be told, I mean, if you had the likes of Wesley Fofana, Reece James, N'Golo Kante in that midfield, or rather in that team, starting Ben Chilwell, the list goes on. Fresh and kicking. If you compare that to Arsenal, who have not really had a major injury to their spine, right, to their first 11. Not really. I mean, probably left back with Zinchenko, but the rest of the team, Saliba, Ramsdale, Granit Xhaka, even Partey was out for a few games, but he has been around now for 8 games, and you can see the stability and the results playing in. How much have injuries played into that, Ali G? And my second question, I will put to Musem after Ali G's response.
Of course, the injuries also they tend to destabilize the team. We need to get used now to Ben Chilwell and Reece James getting injured every season. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the training sessions are not so good. There is more to that we don't know. Because if you see a Chelsea game, any Chelsea game when Reece James is playing, it's quite unfortunate that a wing back is the playmaker of the team. You will see getting in those dangerous positions, you make those key passes, and you question yourself from the beginning, like, why is a wing back being the playmaker of the team? when we have midfielders, when we have strikers. So that's only the problem. I don't want to say that maybe Rhys James getting injured is why. Fine, he's a very good player, but why is he the key player for the team when he's a wing back? He should be contributing. We see most of the players, we see Trent Arnold in Liverpool is also very good, but he's not the playmaker. He's not the decisive guy for Liverpool. He's very good going forward, but he's not the defense. But why is Rhys James being the decisive, the playmaker for Chelsea? It's unfortunate that we have him in that position. So him getting injured, I thought that okay, maybe Chelsea will rebuild and they will answer that question and find new ways of playing and building and creating and making assets, things like that. But nothing happened. So when you see the formation, Pulisic is starting on a wing back position. When you have Cesar Azpilicueta, who can play that position on the bench, then I ask myself that, okay, is the manager clueless? Because so
it's not the players.
Yes,
it's not the players. Because I was feeling sorry. I was thinking, now Chelsea are missing so many guys. This is why the manager is tinkering with his team. What I hear from you is one, too much is being demanded from your fullbacks, hence they're getting injured regularly because there's too much creative weight being placed on Rhys James and Ben Chilwell that they have to do two jobs, and hence they're more susceptible to injuries. And two, your manager is clueless.
Yeah, he's a bit clueless because we thought that was Thomas Tuchel's kind of play, relying on the wing backs, but he's also coming in. And let me tell you, the thing that disappointed me the most about Potter is failing to beat a team that he built in Brighton. We thought that, okay, we are playing Brighton is on form, but the guy built the Brighton team. He knows their strengths. He knows how they are going to play. They have this very good guy considered in the midfield. He's going to block them. But then he comes in and he puts maybe Jorginho on the bench. The guy who can maybe dictate play from the back, control the game, then he's left on the bench. And Brighton just came and ran riot. So as in, I don't know. Musem said that Potter is good, but I also may think Potter is good, but we are getting so many questions right now. I think he's out of his depth. Maybe the expectation is too high.
One question. Ali, one question before I go to Musem, because I do have a question for Musem related to this. All your players come back, because I mean, there's quite a bit of time. The World Cup, there's going to be a break. So I expect Rhys James to be back. Chilwell's injury, I don't think is the usual long-term full season out that it usually is. Cucurella, obviously, I don't think, was he called for Spain? I'm not sure. But then N'Golo Kante, I also expect to be back over December. Now that's a team that looks quite good, and you have the likes of Aubameyang well rested until December. So that is more or less a full strength squad. As a lot of people are going to be coming back from World Cup tired, you have a full strength Chelsea squad going into the second half of the season. Do you expect Chelsea to qualify for the Champions League?
No, I don't expect it, because remember, this is a new manager. He hasn't been with this full squad. So we have N'Golo Kante, who is good, but I think some of the managers play him. They want to play him up front to make those interceptions from the front. Some managers want him to play from the back, deep six. So we don't know what Potter's style of play is when he's at Chelsea. He hasn't had a full squad with him. So when they all come back, first of all, they are going to struggle to gel. I don't see them. Maybe let us look at next season. This season is too late for them, because Potter has to first finish and build the cohesion in the team. They have to go for the preseason. This season is too late for him to come and make a statement with the squad, even if they all come back together. It's a bit too late for them.
Interesting. I must say, from what LG is saying, I think he expects N'Golo Kante to play as a goalkeeper for the second half of the season. There's certainly a lot of rotation in that department for Chelsea. But yeah, moving on to Musem, quick one. We're hearing about Potter's inadequacies as as a coach. His selection is baffling Chelsea fans. He failed to beat Brighton, the team he built, which was playing more or less in the mold that he shaped them in. But Musem, what is your take on Newcastle for me? For all the inadequacies Graham Potter is showing, I mean, Eddie Howe is doing magic or wonders at Newcastle with sheer improvements. No, I mean, of course, they have the richest owners in world football at the moment. They have actually spent a good amount of, I think, 200, close to 200 million pounds. So it's not like they've spent nothing since they took over with Eddie Howe as well. But the sheer improvement in players like Almiron, in Joe Linton, Callum Wilson right there. Obviously, they have solid players like Bruno Guimaraes, and he has built a very solid defense there. Dan Barnes, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman. It's looking quite solid for them, obviously, with the likes of Kieran Trippier in there as well. Chelsea are the surprise package. I will say the surprise package in terms of team of the season so far. Not even Arsenal, and for me, it's amazing that they're seated in fourth place, right above Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. What's your take on Newcastle and their resurgence? Where do you see them finishing in the second half of the season?
Well, there's a group of hours where someone asked, Newcastle is doing so well, yet they haven't bought. And my response was, they actually did buy. They bought a coach. Yeah. They bought a coach in Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is one of the better coaches that's going under the radar and has been for a long time. When you look at what he did at Bournemouth, I actually told that fellow that Eddie Howe walked on water with Bournemouth. He picked them from the fourth tier. I think he was a player coach when they were in the fourth tier, and they made it all the way to the EPL, to the Premiership. That in itself was a miracle. And they stayed together. I think they stayed in the EPL for about 4 to 5 seasons. And given the resources that he had, whatever he was doing was wonders. So, of course, then someone mentioned how he was fired by Bournemouth. Of course, usually the resources you have, get worn out. The funding wasn't that good. You don't replenish and things like that. But he's a very, very good coach. And it's good that he's taken on Newcastle now when they're still trying to figure out how to go about this business of going up the ladder. And he's going to actually fast track them about 2-3 years in achieving that. So that by the time he goes and they bring in their big money, spending, then it's easy. They can easily, fit in. It's hard to bring players when you're down there in the lower half. Big players, they will not come. You're not in the Champions League, you're not in Europe. It's hard to convince them. So he's actually going to fast track them about 2-3 years by what he's doing. He's a very good coach. We have to agree. I think there were times when I think the murmurs were that Arsenal should get him, which they did. But he's brilliant. They've done so well. They've surprised everyone. They're a unit. That's what you need. You're a unit. Even if you're not big money signings, you're a unit. You have the chemistry. You play to the strength of the coach. And, of course, it helps that they're out of all these other cups. They are not playing midweek. If they qualify for Europe next season, then definitely they'll be midweek, and that also has its toll on players. But for now, you're playing one game a week. It makes a difference when you're competing with teams that have to go to Europe, have to play all these Carabao games. The FA will be back, actually, when the World Cup ends. The FA Cup will be back, and that will actually play to their strength. So I'm a fan of his, and I think he's going to do well. You should be, as a Man U fan, you know that sport could become more complicated with Newcastle now in the mix, and Liverpool yet to come also and vie for that position. But I'm a fan of his, and I think he's doing so well. Definitely the surprise of the season so far.
Brilliant. And we'll definitely be moving on to another aspect that actually took all the headlines from the beginning of this week. Bombshell interview there. Cristiano Ronaldo being hosted by Piers Morgan, telling all, as he promised to do. Was it like a month ago? He put out a tweet saying he's gonna, share an interview or reveal soon, and everyone will know the truth. So he's been planning this for a while, and it's no surprise that he missed the last game or so Um, but I mean, the revelations being made there. Of course, the biggest one amongst many being his disclosure that he actually has lost respect for Ten Hag because Ten Hag does not respect him and has been provoking him over a long line of things and slamming the mentality of young players at the club, showing them as being entitled, slamming the management of the club. Nothing has changed since he was there in terms of the facilities have not been upgraded. The cooks have not been upgraded. I even saw a meme about the fridge used to be in the cafeteria and now it's in the pitch. I don't know what he meant. Maybe Ali G can tell us what he meant. And of course, the memes have been running out, and I'm sure Ali G, this one will put a smile on your face. This particular one did kill me. I mean, I dropped and laughed. I mean, look at this. One night I came out of my house. Simple running naked. Next thing, I can no longer score. Simple tap-ins. The man was on fire. And anyway, he did say this, but the nature of comments. Abu Seb, we need to start with you on this one. Your take on this. Was Ronaldo justified? He's definitely going to be kicked out of the club for this. What was his motivation behind this? Can you defend him in any way?
Well, it's hard to sit here and defend Ronaldo. The trailer of the interview was actually better than the whole interview. I tried to watch the full. I managed to gather some time to watch the interview last night, and actually dozed off. So it looks like the memes were more interesting than the actual interview. We should have stayed with the memes, But of course, his split opinions at the club. Definitely, no one player should ever think they are bigger than the club. He's going to face the full wrath of the club. But on the flip side, he mentioned some very critical issues. When we stay away from the personal things about him and against the coach and who is criticizing him, there are egos at play. You have to admit that we were looking at one of the biggest global stars in world sport. So the egos are there. But Ronaldo mentioned some very critical issues in terms of the club, where it's at. And I think I mentioned this earlier in the show that almost everyone who has left the club, that's players and coaches, has hinted on these things, right? And there's this whole business of, don't air out our dirty laundry in the press and things like that. But somebody has got to say these things. And I think Ronaldo feels like he has that star power to be the one to say these things. Of course, his time at United is up. I think I've mentioned this before, that Ronaldo should have left. He made a mockery of the club during the summer window. He was out there trying to find a club where he could play Champions League, and he failed to get a club. So he has to take some kind of responsibility also on his part. But it's a mess. It's a mess, and I wonder why all our stars have to live in such circumstances. I think we remember what happened to Roy Keane as he was leaving the club. It wasn't that rosy. We've had Van Nistelrooy and all those things become. It's a shame. Then there's something wrong at the club behind there. There's something fundamentally wrong that a man like Ronaldo with his ego and star power cannot, as in, is a big fish in some kind of small pond, if I may put it that way. Because if the things behind there are still ancient, the world has moved on. He mentioned things about technology and the club facilities, and many people have actually come out to say these things. I remember Gary Neville had a very serious interview about this, how the club is poorly maintained. They've not even painted. There's rust all over the place. So some of the things were not shocking. But I think the personal things he talked about, him having no respect for Ten Hag, for benching him and giving him 3 minutes against Spurs, he should have seen this coming. Yeah? You should have seen this coming. Ten Hag has to have some kind of control at the club. And that's what happens to any coach. If you go into a club, if you cannot exert your presence, your authority, then the chances are very high that you're going to fail at the club. So Ten Hag being Ten Hag and seeing the kind of path he has gone through the hands of Louis van Gaal, he's worked with Pep. This was seen, so many months ago. They were bound to clash. So too bad that it has ended like this for Ronaldo. Everybody knows what a legend he's been at the club, but of course he has to go. It's sad that it has to end like this, but well, it is what it is. He said it in his interview. It is what it is. He has to say what he has to say. He's willing to take the bullet. Well, let's see how it goes. We will definitely move on without him. The club is bigger than any player. Never be fooled.
And a big bullet, it seems to be. From what I hear, they're preparing to actually sack him for breach of his contractual terms in there, bring the club into disrepute. We'll see that unfold with time. But Ali G, a lot has been said. You've been seeing quite a bit of the snippets from that interview being captured here. This particular Wayne Rooney, of course, response there initially hostile, but now on a follow-up interview via CNN, acknowledging that Cristiano, of course, indeed is a fantastic player. The two best players to have graced the game, but Wayne Rooney shedding light on the fact that it's actually an issue of Cristiano Ronaldo failing to come to terms to deal with the fact that age has caught up with him. He's not what he used to be, and hence his performances have dropped, and he has to be happy with a place on the bench. Of course, when you look at some of these comments from Cristiano Ronaldo, especially this one, I think he was asked about him storming down in that game versus Spurs, but him responding that he felt disrespected being a sub and being told to come on for the last 3 minutes of a game. So you can still tell Cristiano Ronaldo feels like Cristiano Ronaldo, but his birth certificate is not the same as the Ballon d'Or winning Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll take on this whole circus, and is Cristiano Ronaldo justified, or is these shades of your own incident there with the Lukaku interview last year?
I don't know. Maybe for the staunch Man U fans who are not being emotional, they can believe that maybe Ronaldo is coming from a good place in his heart. He loves the club by saying what he said. Because Man U is one of the biggest brands in football. But if you come to England, along the way it has been sleeping. We are seeing new clubs which are coming and they want to take over. Man U is a very big brand. So it's quite unfortunate that he's mentioning things like a poor gym. We expect that from clubs that are forging their way, like Chelsea. So if what he said is actually true, because we've also had rumors of managers who are living like Ralph and they're saying non-disclosures, not to say anything. So any Man U fan will ask himself that why is this thing happening to Man U? Man U is supposed to be the biggest brand, the best club in England. We are supposed to be benchmarking from Man U, all these other clubs. So for any fan who is not emotional, they should really take what Ronaldo is saying. Because to be fair to the guy wanted to leave. In his head, he's still competing with Messi. Yeah, that guy has his competition with Messi still going on. It will never die until Messi also retires from football. He wants to leave Man U. He wants to go to a club where he's going to start and keep scoring goals. And the guy's blocked his move. So I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. And now you want to bring him for 3 minutes, 2 minutes. So, and when he wanted to leave, the manager said that Ronaldo is in his plans. He wants to use him. And now you're giving the guy 2 minutes. So of course he's not happy. But whatever the guys did, I think you saw that they took down one of the posters, the murals at Old Trafford for Ronaldo. I think the discussions are going on how they are going to punish him. And also to question myself, the guy is a legend. Maybe you would ask why he had to come and put all the dirty linen out. You would think that okay, if he wants to live, maybe he can live in good terms. He stays a legend. But maybe he has nothing to lose. He's a very big brand, and he can't be bigger than Manu, so they have to also kick him out. So the views are very confusing. You like, okay, who is correct and who is right? But we hope that whatever he said will be worked on. All these issues of Wayne Rooney, personality, they're not my friend. I don't know. Maybe those are celebrity issues that we can't get in. They will sort those ones out.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Ian Wright wading into that debate and saying the man needs to seek counseling because he has refused to accept that age has come through. And ideally, I mean, I don't know where this ends, but one thing is for sure, Cristiano Ronaldo is out of the club. I don't see him sharing or being out into the dressing room. And Musem, I don't know if I've seen this trailing on some of the media channels. Do you feel that this is going to affect Portugal's performance in the World Cup? We've seen a frosty dressing room there. Even João Cancelo seemed to be upset at him on the training pitch, although it was brushed aside as something that usually happens. But it looks unusual there. Bruno Fernandes greeting the guy like a high school teacher. Something is not right in there.
Well, the one thing that we must also settle in and admit is that the people who did this interview, the people who released this interview was done a few weeks ago, right? And they chose to release it after the last weekend of club football going to the World Cup. Okay, so for a celebrity, there's no such thing as bad PR. Okay, right now the whole world is talking about Ronaldo interview when we should be gearing up to the World Cup, to debating who are the favorites, to debating who's going to be the top scorer of the World Cup, who's going to be the best player, where is the World Cup going to go, and everything is about Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, we have forgotten about Arsenal's run to end the first half of the season on top. We have forgotten about Haaland literally shattering scoring charts in the UK. We've forgotten about all those things because Ronaldo and his PR team chose to release an interview, a bombshell interview, at a time when the whole world will actually be on pause. Without Ronaldo, I wonder what would have been talking about. So people need to sit back and also accept some of the realities that are happening. Ronaldo is actually a bigger brand than Man United on social media. Okay, so as much as the club is a bigger entity, what Ronaldo is doing actually shadows the club in a way. Okay, he shadows you in the club. The media, almost all sports shows and what have gone into a frenzy. People like Ian Wright have to weigh in. Oh, the man needs counseling. He probably didn't need that counseling. Of course, in the interview also it's mentioned that he met Jordan, the clinical psychologist Peterson, and he did some kind of soul searching and things like that. So he's actually in a better place as a person, and he didn't say anything that's really out of this world. He's just said things that the ordinary person would be shy to say, or because you must keep dirty linen in and that. Ronaldo is a big brand. I'm not defending Ronaldo, but we need to also see from what point he's coming at. Now, if Ronaldo goes into the World Cup and performs, okay, then all this bad press will certainly switch and become useful press for him. And that's when you now allow that social media has actually taken the game to a different level, to a point that, we're going to spend 2 weeks talking about Ronaldo interview before the World Cup. So I wish him all the best. He's been a legend. It's unfortunate that it has to end like this, but there are so many things that he said that needed to be said. We've had coaches like Mourinho. Imagine Mourinho with all his pride and ego. Mourinho couldn't even come out to say those things. He just said a few things, by ending up as second best. It was a miracle. La, la, la. So you have to give it up to Ronaldo. He shows you that he's actually a bigger brand in football than many people want to give him credit for. So, let's see how it ends. There's always an end to a good thing, but not this end that we hoped for Ronaldo.
I'm telling you. Cristiano Ronaldo, again, making headlines everywhere, we must say. But we wait to see how that unfolds. If he has you can imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo lifts the World Cup, all of a sudden, that interview will flip on United's head to say, hey.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of United fans are wishing for a poor showing at the World Cup and getting him straight out of their club. And
that will be emotional. Like Ali G said, there are those fans that are still emotional about it. But you have to be a bit level-headed and think about, what did the man say? I watched the interview and I was actually dozing off. But because you doze off, because there's a lot of sense. We want hype. We want all this. Social media has made it in a way that it's only the bad things that will kind of gain traction. When somebody says good stuff, when someone says sense, it kind of dies out. So I don't know. If anyone watched the full interview, you have to sit back and say, man, the man had a lot of sense. He talked about the children, the kids, the young ones, how they're not ready to put in the hard work and things like that. I don't know. We can't dismiss some of the things he said.
Ideally. Gentlemen, we have to leave the Cristiano Ronaldo debate at that. And Mr. Nevo does join people of Chanja, Nigeria, Buate. Thank God your electricity is back. Nevo,
why is Isaac here? Isaac has been suffering the whole season. I don't understand. The World Cup has to be a safety net. Musemba, I'm glad the World Cup is here for you.
Mr. Musemba,
unfortunately, you're late to the party. Eh? You can't come late to the party and start strolling. Eh? I don't know how that works.
Never.
Top of the table, that's what they say. Top of the table, that's what they say.
We've gone through all that.
Never, top of the table and definitely top of the latecomers. Speaking of that, let's go into some of the key stats, gentlemen, around the room. Let's go around the room, kicking off with Ali G. Ali G, as you can see, his KFC has been cooling and he's quite hungry. I've seen a yawn or two coming in from him. But Ali G, top 6 stats of the season. Your team of the season so far.
My team of the season will be Arsenal.
Why?
Like Musem said, Newcastle is doing a very good job, but we have to give it to Arsenal because, man, what those guys are doing, it's been a very, very long time since we saw it coming from Arsenal. And we would have said Newcastle, but Newcastle, okay, we know why Newcastle is doing that job. We know there's so much money there. But Newcastle, these are young kids. They don't have, there's no experienced player, maybe the guys who have won it all, like Thiago Silva. This guy came in and took out Aubameyang, maybe the ego, the high ego guys. He kept simple guys who are going to do the job. And to see people like Piers Morgan also come out and say that, okay, we are apologizing, we are now following, we are now part of the Arteta in. So you have to give it to the guys. I think Arsenal is my team of the season, yeah.
Brilliant. Nevo, your team of the season so far? You're on mute, man. You're on mute.
Wait, Ali G mentioned something about Newcastle having money and whatnot, but I have to be honest. As much as they have money, I don't think they've used it yet. So I feel like it is.
Is that a
team
good
to
thing
watch
or a
out
bad
for.
thing, actually?
I
Because
can
then
imagine if they actually use the money, what will happen? I mean, we've seen teams like Manchester United. Apologies again, Isaac. I'm sorry. This is not meant for you. It is what it is. We've seen teams like Manchester United that have signed the most expensive players who get on pitch and just circle the ball around and do funny tricks, and it's not working. So clearly, it's not just about the money. There's chemistry in Newcastle. They're doing something that is great. I can imagine if they actually start using the money that they actually have, I think there'll be a dangerous prospect to watch out for. Obviously, yes, I am biased. Arsenal, we've been doing good, but on that particular point, I'd have to give it to the whole league as a whole. There's no easy team. If I'm not mistaken, I remember Arsenal played Leeds. Do I pick the top 6?
Pick the team, the best team so far, the team of the season so far, this halfway point.
In terms of players?
Your team, in terms of performance, the best team. Who has performed best for you, regardless of the table?
Regardless of the table, it would have to be Newcastle. Yes.
Fantastic.
It would definitely have to be Newcastle. I know they have the money, but the team has really done amazing. And they've been consistent, and they've been playing well, and they've been playing good football as well.
The same for me, Musem.
Well, I think we had this discussion earlier. It has to be Newcastle because when Ali G talks about money, Ali G can be delusional, but I'll put it out for him. Newcastle is yet to spend money, and the good thing for them is that Eddie Howe gives them, he fast tracks them 3 years into their spending plan. Because now, if Eddie Howe can qualify for Europe, it doesn't even matter, even if it's the other small Spurs Cup that they play. They can then be able to entice some of the top European stars that, we are in Europe, come and we forge away. So Eddie Howe has actually given them, he has fast tracked them 3 years into all that.
What is the small Spurs Cup?
They are not Spurs fans here, so let's not indulge. But Eddie Howe is a good coach, and he's really done well. So even if Eddie Howe finished the season and said, I'm going away, then they can trigger all their billions and find a very good coach. They can bring in Pochettino, whoever they want, and tell him, you know what, get the stars that you want. We're in Europe, maintain us there. So it has to be, the team of the season has to be Newcastle so far.
Brilliant. Ali G, player of the season so far for you.
Player of the season, I think it's I would say Thomas Partey. That guy, his composure, if you see him play, he plays like he's unbothered. He's very calm. Oh my God. I think it will be the injury-free Thomas Partey will be my player of the season, yeah.
Brilliant. Never.
Wait, for a second there. When we were mentioning Newcastle, are we saying that we all expected Arsenal to be where it was? I'll leave that as a question. And player of the season so far for me is Saka.
Saka.
I will choose Saka for one particular reason.
You're biased, man.
I am biased because I feel like he's the one player that even for the Arsenal team, they have been worried about losing. They have a replacement, as we have a replacement of sorts for Thomas Partey, but for Saka, not yet. So I feel like Saka has been an integral part for the team, and that is why all English players and fans are looking forward to him being in the World Cup. So for me, it's Saka.
Yeah, interesting. Musem, player of the season so far.
It has got to be Haaland. I don't know how we can just brush away the fact that the guy has shattered the scoring charts in the Premiership. The man is coming to 20 goals before Christmas. I think it's on about 17. You can't overlook that. And I think when we were beginning the season, I remember having chats with a couple of Arsenal fans who are saying that Gabriel Jesus, and I said Gabriel Jesus will not make 20 goals. And that's the reason why Pep let him go. Because Gabriel Jesus has even failed to score goals. As much as he has done a lot for the Arsenal team, he's not scoring goals, yet he was brought there to score goals. So what Haaland is doing is what should, scare the Arsenal that has to defend against that chase when it comes after the World Cup. Because this is a guy who can bang hat-tricks, game in, game out. So for me, it's got to be the player of the season. It's 17 goals before November. You can't beat that.
True.
One second, Musem. This is a player who has done that the whole time in his career. Is he the surprise player or is the player who has performed the best thus far? Because Haaland has been breaking records everywhere all the time in his career thus far. So I don't think it was a surprise for me.
You see, there's one thing that I've always found very funny. When a big team plays a small team and takes them to the cleaners, let's say 7-0, and maybe Haaland gets 4, then people say, he was playing against small team. Yes, that's why he banged them 4 goals. That's what happened. So him shattering the charts doesn't take away the fact that he's actually doing the business. That's what he was brought to do, and he's doing it. If Haaland was like Nunes, we would be sitting here saying he's the flop of the season. But he's scoring the goals as much as we expected them. Truth be told, nobody expected 17 goals before December.
Okay, I think Musem has bought me. I will also jump on the Haaland bandwagon, honestly, for performance that's far. Yeah,
the same for me.
True.
Haaland, player of the season so far. Team of the season, Newcastle as well for me. Musem, you mentioned flop of the season. I'll start with Ali G because he has been complaining about his Chelsea team. Flop of the season so far. I'm not saying he's coming from Chelsea, but wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Flop of the season will be, I think, Sterling. Oh my God, Sterling is the flop of the season. That guy can't even make simple dribbles. He has totally forgotten what brought him to Chelsea. So, when the season was beginning, we thought that, okay, we've robbed Man City. We've gotten a player that will. And now it appears that that Arsenal got a better deal in Jesus than us we got in Sterling. We are seeing why Pep had to release him. Okay, we all knew that Sterling was wasteful. We could see the Man City games. He was wasteful. He would miss like 5 chances before he scores. But okay, come and create something. Get involved in the build-ups, even if you're not scoring, but be that dangerous guy to create here and there. He has failed to do anything. He can't even dribble. He can't do what. I think it's my very good flop of the season. Yeah.
Interesting. Musem, your flop of the season?
It's a difficult one. I wouldn't want to go with Manu players because I would come up with 11 flops. But who do I go with?
Let me give you a hint. First name starts
I'll be a bit controversial. I'll be a bit controversial and go Mo Salah.
Actually, that's not controversial because I think I'm on the same boat as you.
Because if you look at Mo Salah has banged goals for 5 seasons consecutively, and if you look at the charts, actually, Mo Salah, his stats are crazy. His stats are actually very crazy. He's on about 150 goals already. So the Mo Salah that we've seen so far.
Musem, he's the top scorer in the Champions League, right? Isn't he?
Even in the Premiership, I think I mentioned it earlier. Whenever you are busy doing whatever you're doing, is that Mo Salah has 6 goals in the Premiership, but it looks like Mo Salah hasn't actually done anything, and that's why I'm actually considering him the flop of the season, because he set his bar so high that 6 goals when Haaland is at 17, Kane is at 11. I think he has the same goals as Trossard I mean, this is
Are
Mo
you saying
Salah.
that as
Really.
a fantasy league player or as a football
No,
fan?
I'm just trying to be, because there are not so many flops. Most of the flops are in Chelsea. So let's go with Mo Salah.
Yeah. Gentlemen. Okay, interesting. Interesting that you did mention Cristiano Ronaldo in there. Probably a reason he's had to get into the issues that he's gotten into right now. Gentlemen, we are leaving the English Premier League at that. Maybe Neville, because you missed the first part. Let me summarize it. Second half of the season. Let me actually summarize it for everyone, starting with Neville. How does the top six end at the end of this current season? And I want to get a sense of how you think the teams will perform in the second half. What does the top six look like for you after the last game is played of the current English Premier League season? Neville, let's go. Number one.
Manchester City top, Arsenal second, Newcastle third, Liverpool fourth, Chelsea fifth, Manchester United sixth.
Did you mention Spurs?
No chance.
Okay. Spurs out of it. Interesting. Ali G?
Man City first, Arsenal, Newcastle, Man U, Spurs. No, Liverpool, Spurs.
Is it not five?
Five.
Yes,
That's no,
Liverpool is Spurs.
Where is Chelsea? Man?
Next season, Chelsea is coming next season.
No, we're talking about this season, man.
Yeah, you're asking me where is Chelsea. I'm telling you Chelsea will come next season. Right now I'm giving you my top six. What's wrong with you, man? Why are you provoking me? I'm trying to be very humble. I'm trying to be very humble, but you're provoking me.
Ask Ali G if they're firing their coach.
So okay, Ali G, just out of curiosity, where do you see Chelsea finish?
In seventh. I gave you my top six. You didn't ask for top seven. Seventh.
Okay, Sam, your turn.
I'm going to go Arsenal 1, Man City 2. I'm going to go Liverpool 3.
Interesting.
Man U 4, Newcastle 5, and Spurs 6.
Chelsea out as well, huh?
Chelsea's out. Like they have a mess in that club.
Quick
Chelsea's
one on
out,
my end.
and even their coach is going to be fired.
Brilliant.
Very possible.
Brilliant. On my end, Arsenal first, City second. City by the to win the Champions League. Second, and winning the Champions League. Liverpool third. Newcastle fourth. Spurs fifth. Have I left Man United out? No, actually, Man United fifth. Spurs sixth. Chelsea ninth.
You man. Is it that personal?
No. I just, people might be curious. They're not hearing Chelsea. We're talking about the top six here. So traditionally, we know that has always been Chelsea. Anyways, finally, gentlemen, that's with the English Premier League. World Cup is on the horizon, about to kick off. Excitement all over the place. Ali G, let me go straight to it. Who are the 4 teams in your semi-final and who wins it?
The 4 teams there's Argentina, there's Brazil, Portugal, England.
Who makes it to the final?
Argentina and Brazil.
Who wins it?
Brazil, I think. Yeah, Brazil.
That's a tight one. Musem, your semi-finalists, your finalists, and who wins it?
I might start by, there's a prediction that I saw of some scientists in Oxford who put Iran in the round of 16 ahead of England, USA, and Wales. I think these are the same scientists who did COVID. So let's continue. I'm going to go with, of course, Brazil, Argentina in the semis. I'll go Belgium and Uruguay.
Okay.
And I think
the
final will be Brazil, Argentina. I'll go Brazil.
Interesting. Brazil. Those are two Brazil. Devil.
Okay, I'm not far off from those, but I think if we look at the run of games, there's no way Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina end up in the semis, so that would be tricky. But I still also have Brazil and Argentina in the final, and there's no way Messi is missing this up. So in the final, I'm going for Argentina against Brazil. And for the semis, I feel like there's a random team. There's one
random team
that finds a way of beating a Senegal that has players that decide to party before the final, and they end up being in the semis. There's a team. I don't know if it's Switzerland or like a Uruguay.
Let me give you mine. It might give you an idea.
There's a random team. So I will place Belgium there, and I can guarantee England fans right now, if they manage to get out of the group, the next round, they're going home. It's coming home, and when it's coming home, I mean the team is coming home.
Interesting. I'll give you my semi-final four. The Netherlands, Germany, Brazil, Argentina. Final, Argentina, Germany. Argentina to take it.
No chance. But where is France? Nobody's talking about France.
Man, France are getting
Benzema just got injured.
Benzema just got injured.
Benzema just got
Pogba.
injured.
Pogba has been key for them and is out. Pogba.
There's no Pogba, no Kante, no Benzema, no Nkunku.
Nkunku just got injured as well. So France, wow. I don't think Mbappe can carry the team himself.
No, but I mean, they should have
no chance for Germany also.
No chance
Germany,
for Germany also on my end.
Surprise package. I think
No
actually
chance for Germany
also.
also.
I think
They're
they're
a tournament team, but no chance.
Leroy Sané and Serge Gnabry are going to light up Germany.
No chance.
No, Germany has been struggling of late. I don't know that you've been watching their games, even in the UEFA Nations, wherever. I don't know. They've been struggling a lot.
We were watching Chelsea.
I'm telling you guys, Germany is going to get to the quarters. They're going to get to the semi.
Okay.
Germany is a tournament team, though. So, but Netherlands, I can guarantee you, nothing past quarterfinals, Matthew. Nothing past quarterfinals.
Netherlands would make it to the round of 16.
Let's wait and see. All the best, gentlemen. We have to leave it at that. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of The Locker Room. Next one will come right after the first round of the English Premier League games, post the World Cup. So we will see you then. Thank you for joining. Feel free to subscribe. If you haven't already, hit the like button, drop a comment, and we will catch you next time. Cheers, and Merry Christmas. Enjoy what the English Premier League table looks like now. And I'm sure we Arsenal fans expect that will go on until the end of the season. Gentlemen, thank you for joining. We'll be back. Yes.
Cheers.
Bukayo Saka! Anthony! Salah! Beautiful from Aubameyang! Bang! There goes Haaland. He's on it.